Welcome to GameCube Gallery, episode number 8. In GameCube Gallery, we are taking a look at the GameCube library one game at a time. In the previous episode, we took a look at Spartan Total Warrior, which is a hidden gem. In today's episode, we are going to take a look at another hidden gem on the GameCube, and it's also a GameCube exclusive, and that game is Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. Let's get into it. Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg is a third-person platformer where you take on the role of a boy named Billy Hatcher as he sets out on a journey to save all of the chicken elders and defeat the evil dark crows in order to save and bring peace to the chicken realm. You cannot make this stuff up. So the story in Billy Hatcher is not the most interesting or riveting story in the world. It's very simplistic, very basic, and simply serves as a way to progress the gameplay forward. There aren't very many characters you encounter in the game, and none of them are particularly interesting. Sadly, most of the characters are pretty forgettable. So the story and the characters are very lacking in Billy Hatcher, but you know what? That's okay because it's a 3D platformer, and most 3D platformers are not known for their story. Characters, that's another thing. A lot of 3D platformers do have really cool characters, but the most important thing of a 3D platformer is its gameplay, and Billy Hatcher really excels at that, which we will get to in just a moment. One thing I really love about Billy Hatcher are the graphics. This game supports progressive scan mode. That, combined with my HD upscaler for the GameCube, creates a really nice looking image. The graphics are very clean and crisp and vibrant with plenty of colors, plenty of detail in the environments and the enemies and character models. It has a really nice draw distance. There are plenty of really nice character and enemy animations in the game. They're all very fluid and nice looking, and there are a lot of really cool graphical effects. It's just a very nice looking game, especially when you combine progressive scan mode with an HD upscaler. When you combine those two things together, in my opinion, I think this game looks like a game that could be on the Nintendo Wii. So it actually looks like a next-gen title when you add these elements to it. But even without progressive scan or the HD upscaler, the game still looks really nice. The music in Billy Hatcher is also quite good, with each stage in the game having its own musical theme that sort of matches the theme of that stage, and even the missions within each stage kind of take on a variation of that musical theme. Most of the music in the game is very upbeat and sort of happy in tone, and it all sounds really good and is actually quite catchy. All in all, this music does a great job of capturing the atmosphere of Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, which is a very colorful and happy upbeat game, and the music should definitely match that. The sound design is also fantastic in Billy Hatcher, with plenty of sounds in the background to create a nice atmosphere, as well as all kinds of really fantastic sounds as you interact with the environment and interact with the enemies and move your character around. There are a lot of really clever sound cues that cue you into certain gameplay aspects of the game, like when an egg is ready to be hatched, when enemies have spawned, so on and so forth. So they did a really good job with creating the sounds of Billy Hatcher. Gameplay revolves around navigating and platforming your way across a variety of missions by rolling eggs and hatching them to get power-ups and items. There are 7 different stages in the game, all with different themes such as the Forest Village, Pirates Island, Dino Mountain, and Blizzard Castle. And each stage contains 8 missions, 5 of which you play as Billy, and the other 3 are played as Rolly, Chick, and Bantam once you save them. In addition to that, each mission contains 5 Chick coins to try to locate within each mission mission, as well as a ranking system for you to try to get the top rank that you possibly can. So there's plenty of replayability and plenty of content to keep you busy in the massive campaign in Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. However, if you want to just plow through the story in the game, you have that option too, because all you have to do to advance the story is beat the first 2 missions in each stage. The first mission is always where you save the elder of that stage. The second mission is where you unlock the Dark Gate and fight the Crow boss. Then after that, you can either advance to the next stage or you can tackle the next mission in the stage you're currently on. This game is actually really interesting in its gameplay because without an egg, your character is pretty much useless in that all you can do is pretty much move around and jump. However, when you grab an egg and start rolling it around, that's when your move set expands exponentially, and that's really where the heart of the gameplay in Billy Hatcher lies. When you grab an egg, not only can you move faster and jump higher, but now you have a ton of moves at your disposal that you can use in combat and for navigation. Rolling your egg into enemies will damage them, but you can also throw your egg and have it come back to you, kind of like a boomerang, and you can slam your egg on the ground while you're in the air. You can press the right trigger to dash, and if you jump at the end of a dash, you'll do a long jump. When you do an egg slam, if you press the jump button right as your egg hits the ground, you'll jump extra high. All of these moves are used in combat as well as to navigate the environment, and it all feels great except there is one problem, and this is a problem that sadly plagues many 3D platformers. The camera sucks. The camera gets stuck a lot and bumps into obstacles and walls and objects, and it really messes with the flow of the game and can result in many frustrating moments and can lead to very frustrating deaths. I cannot even begin to tell you how many times I died in Billy Hatcher because of how crappy the camera is. Unfortunately, this is a problem, as I said earlier, that plagues many 3D platformers, and while it is frustrating, I can overlook it and the game is still very enjoyable, frustrating camera aside. So besides the camera, I really enjoy the gameplay in Billy Hatcher. There's a ton of variety in the controls, enemy types, environments, obstacles, missions, and goals, and that's not even counting the egg hatching mechanic. There are 72 different eggs to find and hatch in Billy Hatcher, and they contain power-ups, items, allies, unlockables, and of course the elders you are trying to save. As you roll your egg around, you will find fruit scattered about contained within boxes and dropped by defeated enemies. When you roll over this fruit and feed it to your egg grows larger and larger, and when it grows large enough, you can hatch it and gain whatever is contained within it. The eggs contain power-ups for both Billy and his eggs, such as double jump, increased attack power, faster movement, new moves, and control schemes. You can also find allies within the egg, which are little animals that you can join forces with and press the X button to activate their abilities, which are usually elemental in nature, such as water, wind, lightning, and you can use them to attack enemies as well as solve environmental puzzles. Now, Billy Hatcher is by no means an easy game. The game is quite challenging. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the challenge is due to the frustrating camera as well as some frustrating jumping mechanics. But if you can look past those things, you're going to find a game with some very unique and original gameplay that is also very fun to play, and I enjoyed my time playing through Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. Now, there's also a battle mode that can be played with up to 4 people, but I sadly did not get a chance to try that out. Overall, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg is a really fun and unique 3D platformer with awesome gameplay mechanics, fantastic graphics, and incredible music and sound. I thoroughly enjoyed my time playing it, and I definitely plan on returning to it to at least try to clear every mission in the game. Now let's get into some additional facts and information about Billy Hatcher. Sega published Billy Hatcher, and they also had a large hand in the development of the game because it was developed by their own development studio, Sonic Team. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about Sega because most of us know who Sega is and what they're about. And Sega is of course known for several classic game consoles such as the Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn, and Sega Dreamcast, as well as one of the most iconic game franchises of all time, the Sonic series. Speaking of Sonic, as I said, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg was developed by the legendary Sonic Team. The Sonic Team are of course owned by Sega, and they were founded in 1990 and are responsible for basically every Sonic game ever made. Here are some notable games developed by the Sonic Team: Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, and 3, Nights into Dreams, Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2, Phantasy Star Online, Puyo Pop, Astro Boy, and Sonic Riders, just to name a few. Now, back around the time when the game was first announced, IGN actually interviewed the producer and creator of Billy Hatcher, Yuji Naka, and Yuji actually had a few interesting things to say about the development of the game. They actually started off developing it as a multiplayer game, and then it turned into a single-player 3D platformer, and they really wanted the action in Billy Hatcher to feel and be quite a bit different than the Sonic series. They wanted the player to actually care about the eggs, take care of them, keep them safe, feed them, and hatch them so that they could see what was inside. They really wanted to create a feeling of anticipation and discovery in finding out what is inside with each egg that you discover in the game. They decided to make Billy Hatcher a GameCube exclusive because they felt like it really matched with Nintendo's business strategy as well as Nintendo's audience at the time. They really felt like it was a good fit on the Nintendo GameCube as an exclusive. The game engine used to develop Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg was actually an evolved version of the same game engine that they used to develop Sonic Adventure 2. Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg was released as a Nintendo GameCube exclusive on September 23, 2003. Now in 2006, they also released a PC port that was exclusive to the European market, and it had a few minor tweaks and differences to it, but for the most part it was exactly the same game. Other than that, there have been no sequels to Billy Hatcher, no other games in the series or the universe, and no remakes or re-releases of Billy Hatcher, unfortunately. Now, even though there were no more Billy Hatcher games, Billy himself did appear in a few other Sega titles such as Sega Superstars, Sonic Riders, Zero Gravity, and Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. Billy Hatcher was also nominated in the first British Academy Game Awards for Best GameCube Game, but did not win. Billy Hatcher features some Game Boy Advance connectivity that allows players to play Puyo Pop, Choo Choo Rocket, and Knight's Time Attack on the Game Boy Advance once they unlock these games in the main game. Billy Hatcher and his friends are based off characters from Sonic Adventure 2, and they are also posed in a similar way to the Sonic Adventure 2 cover as well. Billy is based on Sonic, Chick is based on Tails, Bantam is based on Knuckles, and Rolly is based on Amy Rose. Billy Hatcher takes about 8 to 9 hours to complete the main campaign. However, if you're a completionist, you're looking at 28 to 29 hours of gameplay. So there's a decent amount of content in this game that will keep you busy for quite some time, especially if you're a completionist. The fastest speed run for Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg on the GameCube was 1 hour and 8 minutes. And I actually skimmed through some of that video, and it was very, very impressive to see that done, seeing some of the tricks and shortcuts they used. There will be a link to that in the sources down below if you want to check out the top speed run for Billy Hatcher. Even though Billy Hatcher was relatively well reviewed by the critics, it's yet another example of a game that reviewed better among gamers and gained quite the cult following. The average critic score on Metacritic is 71 out of 10 out of 37 critic reviews. We have a 40 on the low end and a 93 on the high end. And the user reviews paint a much different picture with a score of 8.6 out of 10, and that's out of 35 user reviews. Now for the bad news, and this is probably why we never saw a sequel or another game in the series. Unfortunately, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg only sold around 190,000 copies in the US and only around 250,000 copies worldwide. And these are not good sales at all, and that's really a shame because the game is really good and it deserved to sell a lot more than that. Many people believe that the reason that Billy Hatcher didn't sell very well is because Sega did not market it good at all, and any marketing that they did do was very poorly done. So as a result, there's not very many copies out there, and a lot of people don't know about Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, so it's definitely a hidden gem on the GameCube. So due to those poor sales, Billy Hatcher is kind of a hard game to find. I wouldn't call it a rare game, but it's definitely uncommon and it's borderline rare. I don't see it hardly ever out in the wild, and the price is going to continue to go up on that game. It's a little pricey right now, but not too bad. The PriceCharting.com average loose disc price is around $26. The average CIB price is around $30, and the average brand new price is around $90. I'm seeing current eBay complete in box listings at around $30 to $38 with shipping. and I'm seeing some current sold eBay complete in box listings from around $29 to $30. I suspect that the price for this game will continue to go up as it becomes harder and harder to find. But Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg is such a great game. I highly recommend fans of the GameCube that you pick this game up and add it to your collection, especially if you're a fan of 3D platformers or a fan of games that were developed by the Sonic team or a Sega fan in general. You should definitely own a copy of Billy Hatcher, and you better do it sooner rather than later, because I suspect it's going to get harder to find and the price is going to continue to go up on it. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of GameCube Gallery. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure and smash all over that like button, because I really appreciate it. It makes me feel all warm and gooey inside. Wait, what?
If I ever say that again, I want you to punch me in the face. Not a problem.
Let me know in the comments down below if you've played Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg and what you think about this game. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you consider it a hidden gem? Let me know all that in the comments down below. As always, if you are new to the channel, consider subscribing so that you can join the RetroWolf family and see more episodes of GameCube Gallery in the future. Until next time, folks, you know the drill. Keep playing games and having a good time, and I will see you all in the next video. Later.